So if you like gambling, welcome to Path of Exile. This is the game for you, my dude. So Path of Exile is a game for gambling addict nerds. So guys, we have a video in here called The Worst Guide to Path of Exile. A lot of you may be familiar with this video. A lot of you have been telling me I should react to this video. I was saving it until I cleared a lot of content in PoE1 to be able to better understand the jokes, because if I watch a video about PoE1 and I don't understand the game, I won't understand the video either. But now I think I am ready, guys. I think I am ready. So today we are going to watch The Worst Guide to Path of Exile. Let's go. Dude, over 60% of you are not subscribed. Why are you like this? Just click the sub button, dude. It is quick, it is easy, it is free. You get content, I get a sub win-win situation. Just click the sub button, my dude.
1769, Captain James Cook set foot on and mapped out New Zealand. Shortly thereafter, in 1788, England started sending some of its prisoners to the nearby Australian colony. And then finally, on June 28, 2000, Blizzard Entertainment released Diablo 2. These three equally important historic events led up to one of the most important game design questions ever posited by the visionary philosopher Chris Wilson.
He's trying to make it seem like there is no apparent connection in here, but it is. I'm making it like a joke or silly, but it is true that in real life, dude, there is something deeply philosophical in here. In real life, things that appear to have no connection at all can have a great impact in your life. Because again, even for me, I've been playing Path of Exile non-stop the last few months, and that made me make videos about it. And now you guys are watching the videos, and we have a community, and we are knowing, meeting new people, playing the game, having fun. And there is a crazy connection of events happening. Okay, I am crazy. Sorry, forgive me. Let's continue.
What if meth had a skill check?
Buckle up! Let's start picking up the little extras of life. Hallelujah.
This was the boss that I like the least, by the way. Jazzarus. I hate this motherfucker.
Path of Exile is a free-to-pay ARPG with a heavy focus on crafting, itemization, and customizable character progression. And when I say heavy focus, I mean focus like a gacha gamer searching for any semblance of a pinching emoji. This is essentially a spreadsheet masquerading as a video game. Now, you may have heard that this game is infamously overcomplicated, but I am here to assure you that is not the case. It's so much worse than you can fathom.
Brother, true. This bullshit, brother. You know what I was doing yesterday? I was going to two separate calculators. I was doing a timeless Yule calculator. This game is too fucking complicated, dude. I was doing a timeless Yule calculator to be able to trade for the correct timeless Yule, Little Pride, with Akoya, I don't know. And you have to put the seed, 50,000. I don't know. Brother, this game is too fucking complicated. And it tells you what are you going to get in here. And I was also doing a cluster Yule calculator to know what cluster Yules you can get. Because in the cluster Yule, the position, if you don't want the third notable, but you only want the two, and the two Yule sockets, you need to buy a specific cluster Yule with the third passive so that it has the correct position. And this webpage tells you that. Maybe I am talking crazy right here if you don't know what any of this is. But it doesn't matter. The point is that the game is too fucking complicated, that you are always using third-party website bullshit, because inside of the game you don't get those tools and the game doesn't explain shit. Okay, we are going to continue.
Okay, so it's a little hostile towards new players. You will see unironic forum posts with subjects like, I'm a relatively new Path of Exile player with only 500 hours in the game. How do I? This is because every few months, Path of Exile releases a new league. What's a league? About 18,230 feet, but in Path of Exile terms, it's a full character and economy reset bundled with a new central mechanic. Now, most games are happy to power creep
This is a boss in PoE2 and I like this boss, it's cool.
their old content into irrelevance, but the drooling psychopaths at Grinding Gear Games said, what if everything was always relevant forever? This means that there are dozens of core concepts over the last
Which is, at the same time, I know that I have complained before about the game having too much shit and being too complicated. But at the same time, this is what makes PoE1 cool. That there is a lot of stuff to do. You have different mechanics, different activities, a deep, robust endgame, right? This is exactly why other seasonal games suck. Because the season is over and everything goes away to never come back. That sucks. PoE1 said, you know what? If it is cool, we keep it. And that is why it is so cool.
decade that you need to understand in order to reach this game's true end game, getting a fancy belt. But before we can dress you up in more high-end goods than Peter Nygaard, first we're going to have to commit more crimes than Peter Nygaard.
I don't use it, I'll be honest guys, I don't use cosmetics first because I don't have any, because I don't buy them. But I have earned some of the drops and challenges and stuff, and I don't use them either because I think they are stupid and I want to see the actual gear that my character is using.
We create a new account, log in, and create a new character. What character should you pick? Oh, muffin.
Any but the fucking ranger and witch, because those are pussies.
We're nowhere near being able to answer that question. So for now, just go with whoever you think looks cool. To help you decide, here's a quick breakdown of
The Zion. The Zion is the uber pussy. I didn't even think about the Zion. But because for me, the Zion doesn't exist. And thank God, they already said that they are not going to put the Zion into PoE2. Thank God for that. I didn't include the Zion in my top 5 things that I don't want to see in PoE2 because they already said it is not coming. But it will be my number 1 thing that I don't want to see in PoE2. Fuck the Zion. Okay, sorry guys.
each exile. The Templar is a religious man who tried to convince the church that Has-Been Hotel was canon and was justifiably excommunicated. The only thing longer than his religious ramblings is his neck. The Shadow here ate the rich, and they notoriously dislike when people do that. Based off of his looks, he probably listens to MCR, so you know not to feel too bad for him. After that,
He's dressed like a fucking butcher, dude. Like, you go to your local butchery and this is the guy that is cutting your meat.
we have the Marauder, a character modeled after the weakest Maori warrior, literally exiled for being too much of a Chad. The Scion killed her husband on their wedding night, and far worse, refused to return any of my wedding gifts. She needs to be literally unlocked in Act 3. The Ranger was banished for being a tomboy, which, as we all know, causes rampant bisexuality. The damage was incalculable. The Duelist is a true man amongst men. He was cheated in a duel, so he cheated his opponent out of a pulse. And finally, we
The Duelist is cool as fuck, by the way. I love the Duelist. The Duelist can ascend to the Gladiator, which so far is one of my favorite, if not my favorite ascendancy in PoE1, dude. I love the fucking Gladiator.
have the Witch, a pick-me girl who was banished for committing the worst crime known to New Zealand, writing bad Lore Olympus fanfic, also murder. In case it isn't obvious by now, I don't know what the hell is going on here. I'm not sure anyone does. I finished this
Nobody does. That is nerd shit. Nobody does.
campaign multiple times, and I still don't know why I have to acquire the Staff of Virginity before I'm allowed to punch God in the heart. Because it doesn't matter. We're not really here for the campaign. So
We don't give a fuck about that. We are just doing it to get to the cool part.
just like Tai Killer, I'm going to speedrun us through it so that we can get to the real game. We wake up on the shores of Rayclast, aka lore-accurate Australia, and start a very bare-bones tutorial for skills, links, and combat. Skills come in the form of colored gems that are either active or supportive. These gems go into colored sockets on your gear, which are connected by links.
I have to be honest, guys. I think that the core concept, the core idea of having support gems that transform your main ability is genius. It is cool, and after PoE did it, a bunch of games are copying that way of creating abilities, right? But at the same time, the way they decided to implement that idea is fucked up. Like having different color sockets linked in your gear. Go fuck yourself, dude. Why don't do it any other way, dude?
With this system, you can boost any active skill gem with any supportive gems so long as they are linked and compatible. For example, taking Burning Arrow and supporting it with Pierce so that we can achieve double the arson in a single shot. Want to know more? Too bad. Moving on. We're not going to be spending too much time in the worst vacation zone known to man unless you're playing hardcore mode. If you clicked that funny box at character creation, well, you might want to bring some sunscreen. Personally, I don't play hardcore mode for the same reason I don't do CBT. While some people enjoy it, I'm afraid to die and I'm
CBT, I don't know if he didn't say it because of YouTube censoring it, but if you don't know, it is cockball torture. How do I know? Forget about it. Don't even think about why do I know what CBT is. But yes, it is. Don't play. If you value your time and you don't earn money by playing PoE like the streamers, don't play hardcore. Don't fuck up your life. Just play softcore trade league. Everything will be awesome, dude. Trust me.
probably not going to finish. We kill Hillock, an NPC whose lore will get you banned in general chat for discussing it, and make our way into town. It's an ARPG safe zone. You know the drill. Vendors, quests, waypoints, stash, the works. We also get our first skill point, so hold on. Let me get the boss music going. Okay, let's get the scary part over with.
Okay, he's going to open the passive skill tree that scares noobs. Brother, the passive skill tree is the best thing about this game, and it is what made me want to play the game. Don't get scared about it. It is not that complicated. It is way more simple than people think.
The moment you've all been waiting for. So, skill tree is a bit of an understatement. Technically, it's a skill graph. Be not afraid. Here's a quick tutorial.
It is like the... You know what is the best way that I have heard described the PoE 3 described? It was that guy that played the Diablo 2 that tried PoE 2. It is a constellation of anxiety. I love that description, dude. That was a really cool description. The PoE passive tree is a constellation of anxiety.
In graph theory to help you along. Catch all that? Let me break it down. Basically, all characters get the same skill tree, but your class determines where you start in this pile of dots. This tangled mess of progression is divided into 3 sections: intelligence, strength, and dexterity. Each section is packed with clusters made up of small passives leading up to a notable passive, the taking of which unlocks a mastery related to the cluster. There's
Mastery suck dick. All my homies hate mastery, and I know I am in the minority because people, for some fucked up reason, love masteries. Fuck masteries!
some other stuff, but don't worry about it for now. It looks scary, but for now, just pick whatever skills make you stronger or whatever keeps you alive longer. There are too many layers of offense and defense to cover in a guide like this, but just path towards whatever you think is interesting or you feel you need more of. Really, that's it. See, it's not so bad.
Exactly. It is exactly like that. You don't have to think what is on the other side on the tree. Just focus on what is in front of you. Also, you can use this search here thing right here. And if you're saying, I am hitting with fire damage, I want more fire damage, you write fire damage in here and it tells you what to pick. It is not that complicated, dude. Trust me.
At least until we get to the end of the campaign. After that, well, we'll get there. Anyway, time to
The fucking cluster yules. Fuck cluster yules!
move on and rip through the campaign. After avoiding a gaggle of British people, we hit the hardest area in the game where we get bodied by whatever the hell arose.
Hey, these motherfuckers are scary as fuck, dude. They are dangerous, dude. These guys in Act 1 are more dangerous than a bunch of bullshit in Act 10, dude.
Is if you can make it past this zone, you can make it through the rest of the campaign. We kill
Exactly.
a mermaid, wipe out some Aztecs piloting the world's slowest battle mech, and then savage the blood dungeons so that we can get shown the true face of God. And that's just acts 1, 2, and 3 of 10. Now we just have to kill the devil from the Bible so that we can return to
I like that boss, by the way, Malachi. It is one of the cool bosses in the campaign in PoE 1.
Oriath, where we can finally kill God or die trying. We die trying. Lucky for us, the concept of sin or something saves us. I wasn't really paying attention. Anyway, back to the beach. Now Act 1 is Act 6, and we get to run through a remix of all the acts. We help a mermaid deal with her crabs before finding out what happens when someone watches way too much interspecies reviewers. After that, we settle a sibling dispute the hard way so that we can run through the blood aqueducts 20 times before facing down the diabetes demon. Finally, we get our rematch with God. But
And this is the best fight in the PoE campaign, let's be honest. It is the final boss. It has to be cool, right?
This time we brought the right MacGuffin. The Catawba boss fight is actually a pretty great end to the campaign. It's a pretty hard fight your first few times through, and it feels appropriately epic. But hey, that's it. You did it. 20 to 30 hours in, and you finally beat Path of Exile.
This is the start of the game, by the way. This is just something you do to actually get to the game. All of this that you did, that is not the game. That is an introduction. They are showing you how the game is. Now it comes the game.
It's tutorial. Now the real game begins. Catawba was a little
Hey, he
bitch
said the
compared to
same.
what's on the horizon. There's an infinite number of worlds out there, and they're all being threatened by
That is my favorite boss, by the way, from the things that I have fought in PoE 1. The City in Exile. This dude is cool as fuck.
various forces beyond comprehension. And that's not just
This one is cool too, the Eater of Worlds. This one is cool too, but I prefer the City in Exile.
because they're mostly eldritch abominations, but because understanding the character and gear progression required to fight them is harder than understanding Raelian. So that begs the question, what build should we play? Honestly, that's up to you. There's always a handful of meta builds that are popular, but there's a guide out there for almost every skill, and that's what makes this game so unique.
If you are a new player, I know the impulse of trying to not follow a guide and just learn the game by yourself. Trust me, I also did want to do the same thing. Do yourself a favor if you are going to play PoE 1 for the first time and just follow a guide, my dude. Follow a build guide, everything will be cooler. Trust me.
Want to set people on fire by being literally holier than thou? Righteous fire. Want to summon dozens of floating skulls to nibble through your enemies like a swarm of angry piranhas? Summon raging spirits. Want to be more caustic than a Call of Duty lobby? Toxic rain. Want to have no fucking clue what's going on? Flicker Strike. There's a near endless combination of skills and classes to choose from, but it really comes down to what you think will be fun and what you can budget. Time to get on that Sigma femboy grind set. The real goal for this game is to get rich and die trying. Your budget for a build will depend on how many chaos, divines, and mirrors you can amass in a reasonable amount of time. What are those things? Well, they're the gold standard for player trade, and 3 of
Why is he selling a Svalin for 80 chaos? A Svalin right now is like 80 divines. What the fuck was that?
several dozen currencies in Path of Exile. I assume the devs set it up this way because New Zealand runs on some similar unhinged exchange system. So what is value? Everything in Path of Exile has a rarity and difficulty of acquisition, which along with how desired or meta it is in a given league will determine its value. Now, this may sound like I'm saying there is a stock market-like economy built around this game. Well, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And just like the Canadian housing market, it's mostly speculative and you probably can't afford shit. If you make it
It is being manipulated all the time by people that earn a living by trading. You guys probably don't know this, but there are a lot of people that earn a lot of money by trading in Path of Exile.
your first league and you want to go further, you should plan your budget to be around at most a few hundred chaos to maybe 5 divines if you're feeling spicy. Mirrors are right out. Don't even look at them. As far as you're concerned, they don't exist. But why do these currencies have value? How do they help us with the end game? Well, welcome to the true boss of Path of Exile. The crafting system. I have 2 degrees from one of Canada's most universities and I still barely understand crafting in this game. But that's not going to stop me from
There comes a point where you don't realize, if you're a new player and you see that the crafting is intimidating, just know that you don't have to craft. You can just trade for an already crafted gear. And sometimes when you want to learn to craft, it will be there waiting for you. But it is not 100% necessary.
passing along misinformation to you though, dear viewer. So, for Shaper's sake, take everything I'm about to say with enough grains of salt to season a hardcore player's death. Items have a fixed number of modifier slots on them called affixes, which are split between prefixes and suffixes, usually 3 each, but some have less or different amounts. What type of affixes can appear on an item depend on
Brother, if you have never played Path of Exile and you watch this video, you say, what the fuck am I watching? Like, we kind of understand it because we play the game. But this is crazy information if you have never played, not only Path of Exile, but even worse, if you have never played an ARPG. Like, what the fuck am I watching? If you are a shooter guy and you see this, what the fuck is this, dude?
that item's type. Most affixes have tiers, the lower the
Let's be honest, guys. Path of Exile is a nerd game. We have to just say it. It is a nerd game. if this is a game that you play it more on a spreadsheet and on path of building than in the game itself, you know that it is a nerd game. Let's just be honest with it. We are nerds. There is nothing wrong with it. I just want to clarify the fact.
Tier, the better the stat range. The possible tiers also depend on the item's level. With higher item level,
Also, it is not only for nerds, but because of what he's going to explain right now, that when you craft, you are basically playing with the odds and you are gambling. Path of Exile 1 or 2 are games for gambling addicts. I didn't know I was a gambling addict, but since I love Path of Exile, I realized I have to be a gambling addict because this is a game completely designed around the idea of gambling. When you kill a monster, you are gambling that you are going to get the item. When you are crafting, you are gambling that you are going to get the affix. Everything, everywhere is fucking gambling. This game is a giant slot machine with 10,000 levers. So if you like gambling, welcome to Path of Exile. This is the game for you, my dude. So Path of Exile is a game for gambling addict nerds, combining the two things.
allowing lower tiers to roll. All affixes have different weights that can determine how likely they are to appear. However, through the dark art of crafting, we can change those weights in our favor. At the end of all of this, just remember the chances of a desired affix appearing is always 50-50, since it either shows up or it doesn't. Now, there are several ways to craft in Path.
For me, it is 0%. For me, not zero. I have accomplished to get affixes that I want, but like if you get it, it is 95% of not getting the one that I want.
Of Exile. Resonators, essences, spam, beasts, and many more. But everything comes back to chaos, divines, and exalted orbs. The market reason for this, like most things, is unfortunately math, but it's mostly attributed to things like metacrafting, chaos sinks, and some other stuff I just don't have the care to explain at you. So how does one go about obtaining all these fancy crafting resources? Well, it's time to finally talk about... Oh, did you think we were done with graphs? You delicious buffoon.
This is the best thing about PoE 1, by the way. This is the best thing. The Atlas, how you get points for the Atlas and all the cool activities you can do.
We're just getting started. The Atlas of Worlds is our endgame progression system. Like the skill tree, this might look a little daunting, but it's not that bad, at least until we start throwing stones at it. The Atlas is made up of maps. A map is a specific...
It literally doesn't matter. You can even not look at that shit. All you have to do is look at the map and you see if it is completed or not completed. That is all that matters. You can even not look at the Atlas of Worlds.
Specific area that gets procedurally generated when opened with the map device. Each map has a tier which determines the level of monsters in it. The higher the tier, the stronger the monsters, the more difficult the map, but the more rewarding the loot. The tiers go from 1 to 16 for the standard maps, with a special tier 17 being used for...
I'm bent to my will.
As we clear maps,
Fuck tier 17 maps, by the way. All my homies hate tier 17 maps.
we can do bonus objectives, which get harder as our maps change color. Completing this bonus objective yields a funny new type of point. Whatever could that be for, I wonder? Hold on,
Another crazy constellation of anxiety.
let me get the boss music again. And here we have the Atlas passive skill tree. Last graph, I swear. Remember all those old League mechanics I mentioned at the start of the video? Well, here they are, but on steroids. This is where you can customize what you find.
This is what Diablo 4 needs, by the way. Blizzard, if you want Diablo 4 to be a good game, put this into Diablo 4. You just copy. No, but we have to change it because we have to be original. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. This is the best endgame system in any fucking game that currently exists in the planet Earth. Hell, I even think that if there are aliens out there, they will have a hard time coming up with a better endgame system than this one. All you have to do, Blizzard, for Diablo 4 is copy this bad boy. Copy this bad boy and everything will be cool.
Most fun in Path of Exile and exploit it for profit. There is a ton of League mechanics to choose from, but here's a brief rundown of my personal favorites. Expedition adds a fun cast of characters to your map who...
Expedition sucks dick. The best one is Delph, the second best one is Incursion, and the third best one is Heist. You could say that Blight can be top 3, but those are my personal top 3.
benefit from your cheap foreign labor. Harbingers adds the Blue Man Group, but now the music is just...
Harbingers are cool. I like Harbingers.
Betrayal turns this meme into a mechanic. Ritual adds a gambling...
True! That is completely true! That is the best joke he has said so far. Dude! That is exactly Betrayal. Fuck Betrayal, brother. You need, if you thought that you need a PhD to play the game in general, to play Betrayal, you need to be, brother, the director of NASA. You have to be the fucking director of NASA to play fucking Betrayal.
Is just... Betrayal turns this meme into a mechanic. Ritual...
Brother, fuck Betrayal. Like, it is a cool mechanic. I like it in concept. But it is too much, dude. Like, who the fuck knows how it works? Like, the best Betrayal player in the world that earns a lot of currency with Betrayal, they don't even know how it works either. Nobody does. Not even GGG. GGG created it and they don't know how it works.
Adds a gambling window to our gambling simulator. Incursion adds Elva, who tells us there are riches in an
This is a Giga Chad mechanic. I love this mechanic.
Aztec temple, enabling a Christopher Columbus playthrough, and Blight turns the game into a tower defense, which attacks your frame rate more than your character. And those are just a handful. There are so much variety to choose from, so make like a sexually curious college student and try a bit of everything. And a little advice on mechanic farming. Don't get swept up in what some people tell you is optimal or best. There's
Base advice. Play what is fun. If you are not having fun, why the fuck are you playing the game even? There are people that prefer to not have fun to get more currency. No. Every mechanic generates currency, by the way. The difference is a little bit of, you get a little bit more with this one, but all of them get currency. All of them get currency.
good strategies for almost everything, but the only wrong way to play Path of Exile is one where you're not having fun. Now, as we progress our atlas, we may start to encounter anomalies. The envoy here, on top of sounding like chill hip-hop speak to study and relax to, warns us of a few of the endgame baddies that
is a cool character. I like the envoy as a character. I think it is a cool character. By the way, this farm right now, it is a good farm. I farmed earlier today a bunch of Eater of Wars and Sitting Exarchs, and they drop a Yule that goes for 10 divines. Really cool farm.
we're going to run up against as we enter red maps. Mini bosses like the mukbang YouTuber and Lady Gaga both require boss knowledge to beat, like how to navigate the Taco Bell swamp attack, but with a little gumption and some decent gear, they shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now, firmly planted in red maps, we can look to the top of the Atlas passive tree, and here we can see the pinnacle bosses of Path of Exile: Cirrus, the Awakener, the Searing Exarch, the Eater of Worlds, Cortex, the Shaper, and the Elder, and finally, the
Time contorts.
If we're gonna have any chance,
Awesome, brother. Awesome. The pinnacle bosses this season. Cirrus can suck my dick. All the other ones are cool.
at defeating these big bads, we're gonna need a real build with real gear. It's gonna take hundreds of maps to find the items necessary to trade or craft our stuff. This means the faster we can blast through maps, the faster we can get to these pinnacles of PoE prestige. Mapping in Path of Exile is a balancing act between offense, defense, and speed. Now, me personally, I live and die a lot, by the notion that the best way to mitigate enemy damage is to never let them attack in the first place, which is why I stack move and attack speed.
So this dude leaves the concept of the best defense is an attack. Is the attack, a good attack.
And play Flicker Strike builds. Look at that clarity of combat. This is what is known as a 6-portal.
Look at that clarity of combat. That is another thing that a new player that sees PoE 1 and 2 even, but PoE 1 is more egregious. They don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, the screen is on fire all the fucking time. 10,000 explosions, 10,000 effects. If you don't know what is going on, it doesn't make any sense.
Defense. You paid for 6 portals, you might as well use all of them.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Now that we've hit red maps and we've filled out our skill and atlas tree, it's time to really scale our maps. In order to have a better chance at finding valuable items, we need to juice harder than a TikTok fitness influencer. You can do this by...
Brother, did you guys see that I know that I am going on a tangent in here, but did you guys see that they arrested the Liver King because he was going to try to do something to Joe Rogan and Alex Young or Alex Young? So I don't know who he wanted to attack. Like, I saw the news that he got arrested for something like that. The world is crazy, dude. What the fuck? We are truly living in a simulation.
spending crafting currency on your maps by using scarabs, chisels, etc, etc. Just make sure that when you're rolling mods on your map, you roll ones that your build can handle.
Why won't you die?
You don't want to run an Ellie Reflect map and die instantly. That would be super embarrassing. No longer poor, we can engage with player-to-player trading, assuming you're in one of the trade leagues. If you're in solo self-found, then I suggest you get a certificate of competence from Path of Exile before wasting all your chaos trying to roll an affix that can't appear on the gear you're crafting. Otherwise, the trade site is about
Guys, that is a really good advice. That is a really good advice. And I am not saying it because it happened to me. No, it didn't happen to me. It has never happened to me, guys. Please, dude. Look up the affixes that you can get on your item before you start wasting your currency on the item.
to become your new addiction. Oh, it'll start off small, a ring upgrade here, a skill gem there, but before
This is true, by the way, and it is one of the reasons that I think that when we actually get the auction house, it is going to be crazy. Because, guys, I have to tell you, I love looking up items in the trade website. Even if I am not going to buy them, I just like to look at them and look for affixes and just, you know, mess around with the trading website to see what is up. It is an addiction, like he's saying in here, 100%, dude.
For long, you'll have several active searches running while riding a near-lethal dose of Ritalin, so you can buy a crappy cluster jewel base at 10C under market value before a scraper bot does.
Fuck cluster jewels.
And when you get that invite, you will ride that high until you reach the seller's hideout and get flashbanged by their trash waifu's bare ass and
He has to ban people that have these hideouts, by the way. I am sorry if you guys are doing this, but this is godless behavior. This shouldn't be allowed. Please, ban people with these hideouts.
or feet.
Brother,
Speaking of trash, it's time for a loot filter. We won't be picking up 99% of the items that hit the floor, so hit up neversinksfilterblade.xyz and download the basic loot filters. Nothing triggers that dopamine spike like that iconic tink sound anyway. Oh, that's the stuff. As you get better and figure out what mechanics you find fun, you can customize this to the beach and back, but for now, just stick with the basic filters. If you haven't been filtered out of the
You can't play this game at a high level without a filter. It is mandatory, which is kind of bullshit that you have to have a filter. I am not going to go down that rabbit hole because not having the filter also sucks. We don't have a solution. Just go with the filter, dude.
player base by this point, then it's time for the ultimate tool. Any PoE player worth their salt needs
He's going to say that this is a real game. 100% he's going to say it. This is a real game. And the PoE is just like the simulation to do the thing. But the game is PoE.
Path of Building. This isn't optional. Path of Building allows us to simulate any build you or an Adderall Field community member can hallucinate. Can't decide between two passives on the tree? POB it. Want to know if that item is an upgrade? POB it. Want to crack the seed number required for a timeless jewel? F***ing POB it. This is the real
I did that by the way. Like, because this thing that I was doing wasn't enough. I needed more. And I looked how to actually do it with Path of Building, and I looked at that, and that was the actual way I found my timeless jewel that I am using on my character right now.
video game. Path of Exile is simply a tool to test your Path of Building creation. So, now
Exactly, that is what I said!
that we're decked out, let's pay those pinnacle bosses a visit. Hit it.
I hate this fight too. The Shaper fight is stupid, and you know why? Do I have to tell you why it is stupid? Because too many intermissions where you are not fighting the dude. Like, he sends you to the other place, you have to walk, kill the other dude, then you come back and he's talking bullshit, and you are just standing in there waiting. I hate this fight because of that. And that is also the reason why I don't like Sirius. But Sirius is like less egregious. The Shaper is even worse. But Sirius has too many fucking intermissions where you can fight the dude. The Sitting Exile is the best one.
Pinnacle bosses are difficult and will take some practice. That said, they have fairly clear and telegraphed attacks that usually have an audio component that'll let you know what's coming. Some of these audio cues are even kind of infamous, like Jazzarus's Die Beam, or the Eater's Hunger Slam, or
also, whoever came up with the idea to put Simon Says in the Maven, the memory game, send them to jail, please, for at least 5 years. They deserve 5 years of jail for putting the memory game Simon Says in Maven. What the fuck? Dude, the divine drop sound, oh my god, brother, neuron activation, and he put it there. When you hear, there was a way to customize your sounds, and you could put like the Maven, when a divine drops, that is also a good way to go. I like that. I like that. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. Billy Family Circus.
spend enough time in the Atlas and something funny happens. We're well past the point of being able to clear difficult maps. Hell, we can defeat any boss, and yet we continue to make it harder on ourselves. We're not doing this to win anymore. We won a long time ago. We chose the path of Sisyphus and asked for a bigger boulder. Cirrus and the conquerors of the Atlas weren't a warning, they were an aspiration. We're not playing for victory. We're playing for big numbers and even bigger memes. Remember those tier 17 maps? Well, upon completion, they can drop a fragment. Collect all the pieces and you can gain access to an Uber encounter. Uber bosses have more health, deal more damage, have more damage reduction, augmented mechanics, and more importantly, have a special item drop pool. Some of the best items in the game only drop from the Uber version of Pinnacle bosses. However, more often than not, you're going to get trash. But hey, that's PoE, baby. So how do we deal with this railroad spike?
We already established the gambling addict nature of PoE, so at this point, we know how it is.
Through the head and difficulty by pushing our build to its absolute limit. I'm talking more defense than when I gave a coworker constructive criticism. I'm talking more offense than when Australia decided it didn't like emus. I'm talking tier 0 uniques. Tier 0 unique.
I think that there comes a point when enough is enough. Like, there are people that just keep grinding for what? Like we talked about earlier, like after you delete an Uber boss in 1 second, and yes, that is not only possible, but everyone or a lot of people do it, they push their builds until they can just literally one shot an Uber boss. And they keep grinding and grow stronger after that. And at that point, why? You already beat the game, dude. Try again with a different character or a different build. Why are you still going harder? What do you need all this damage for?
Are the rarest items in Path of Exile outside of mirror tier rares. Some of them are so powerful that entire builds can be crafted around just a single one. Of these chase items, Mage Blood is one of the most sought after. For several leagues since its introduction, it's been one of the most expensive uniques in any given.
Hey, I have this item, Nimis. I have this item in my character right now. Look at this. And I have it foiled, by the way. Nimis, Topaz Ring. Nice.
League, and the only way to obtain it is to grind harder than a stripper trying to break out of ELO hell. Now, you can do endgame content without these items, but that's not why you're here, is it, cutie? And I know, again with the tiers, we've got more tiers than a wedding cake baked by a coke fiend, but don't stress too much about these ultra rare items. The build I've been using for most of this video costs like 10 divines and is hardcore viable. Too bad I'm not. But if we're gonna do this, we may as well farm currency like we're trying to buy a price-inflated Big Mac and push our sword-based persuasion as far as we can. And now, with that finally out of the way, we can discuss her. Well, there is arguably no real
By the way, he hasn't gotten into the topic that trading in this game sucks, but since he traded to build that character, I am going to take this moment to do my daily trading rant. Trading in Path of Exile 1 and 2 sucks dick. It is the worst trading system ever, and thank God they are already working on a solution for this bullshit. I don't even know how they thought this was possible. But, well, I have to say, there is one game that has a worse trading system than Path of Exile. And for the surprise of nobody, you already know what game this is. It is Diablo 4. Trading in Diablo 4 sucks even more. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. Like, they made a worse trading system than Path of Exile. That is crazy. And Path of Exile trading sucks dick.
final boss in Path of Exile, and there are harder enemies and things like
Hey, this is the best mechanic in Path of Exile, Delve.
Deep Delve. The Maven is widely regarded as the final test in Path of Exile. The nascent eldritch entity, she is a child, we do not lose the Maven, wants to figure out what life is and does this by slamming her toys together until they break. The only problem is that we're the toys. She collects other bosses for fun. The Maven can be summoned to any map to increase that map boss's difficulty, and after defeating it, it will be stored away in an invitation for later. Early, this means you'll have to fight a handful of bosses at once, but later, it's 10 enhanced map bosses more or less back to back to back. But who cares about the standard map bosses at this?
I have to say, I completed all the Maven encounters. The only one that I have not completed is Uber Maven. But from the normal encounters, the field, the Maven, the field encounter is really cool. I have to say that the whole idea of the field Maven encounter is really cool. It is, you fight like pinnacle bosses all at once. Let me see this one. Maven's Invitation, the field. You fight the Cortex, the Chayula, the Shaper, Uber at City, and you also fight another one. I don't remember which one it is. But you fight a bunch of pinnacle bosses at the same time. It is really cool. I like it a lot.
This point. Like I said, we can defeat any boss. Well, it isn't just the standard map bosses that interest her. Special bosses like the Shaper's Prisoners, Cirrus's Elder Slayers, or even Cortex's Creations are all fair game. And these four-way fights can get more intense than Thanksgiving political discussion and only slightly less violent. But even that's not enough for the Maven, because not even the pinnacle bosses are safe. At Ziri, Cortex, Chayula, and even the Shaper and the Elder.
Brother, this motherfucker is saying what I am saying. Are you stealing my bullshit, dude?
Cannot escape her grasp, but it's not like we have to fight them all at once.
Yes,
right?
It is awesome, dude. It is awesome. I love this. I love it. I did this on a stream, by the way. You guys can, well, I have to put out the bot, but I did this on a stream. It was awesome, by the way. It was awesome.
Alright, time to finally beat the Uber Maven so that I can post this video and have Chris give me my streamer client. I just hope that I can dodge the most difficult attack in the game.
I said that too! That bullshit, brother. No, that was bullshit. I just realized I am an idiot, and this would prove that I am an idiot. Brother, I have the crazy lip slam that I can zoom around, and when I do the Maven memory game, I don't use the lip slam. I walk like an idiot. And he just lip slam, and I could be lip slamming, and I am walking like a stupid idiot. Brother.
Must enjoy our contests.
Path of Exile is a spreadsheet-based gambling addiction that should be avoided at all costs. It will cause you to watch.
I said that earlier too, brother. That it is a game for gambling addict nerds.
entire videos of someone talking over a notepad or spreadsheet document and think, yo, this looks sick, I can't wait to try it. And just like watching One Piece, it only gets good after several hundred hours. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I love poring over the novel-length patch notes every league start and then going to Reddit so I can be told why this is the worst thing to ever happen. I love reading the nerfs and getting gaslit by Jazzarus as to why this is good, actually. I love ignoring both of those things and then playing Flicker Strike again and just having a glorious time. At its heart, Path of Exile is an amazing ARPG that has some of the deepest customization you could ever ask for. There's so many different ways to customize your gameplay on so many different levels, it's honestly kind of crazy. Players will often optimize the fun out of their own gameplay, but Path of Exile is one of those rare games where optimization is part of the fun. Now, this game is free to pay. You can absolutely enjoy everything this game has to offer.
Brother, if you played PoE 2 and you are still on the fence and you have not tried PoE 1, try the game, dude. It is good. I fell in love with Path of Exile because of Path of Exile 2, but then I decided to play Path of Exile 1, and I don't regret it. It is an awesome game. You should definitely try it. It is really fucking good. The end game, which is the part that I love about these games, is the best endgame that I have ever played in any game, dude. It is awesome. Just play the game. What do you have to lose, brother?
Without spending any money, but it's a lot more fun and convenient if you buy a few stash tabs. I have seen a lot of scummy microtransactions in video games, but with Path of Exile, it really feels
Path of Exile has the most ethical monetization of any game out there.
earned. Every league brings excellent content for free and quality of life features, mostly in the forms of RSI reduction. I'm usually happy to drop some money on this game every couple of leagues or so because the devs absolutely deserve it. If you really enjoy...
Exactly, Ace. I said that exactly same comparison about One Piece. When I compared PoE 1 and PoE 2, I said that PoE 2 was like Death Note and PoE 1 was like One Piece. I also said that.
Enjoy this game, I would recommend getting a currency tab and a map tab and then deciding for yourself if you want to invest any more. GGG puts up a stash tab sale every few weeks, so keep an eye out.
That is not how you say it. That is not how you say it. It is yee. You say it yee. What the fuck are you saying, dude?
Before buying. And if you really like this game, then buy yourself some drip and lose that yee ass armor set. Finally, let's talk about some actually good players. The community around this game is one of the best, and honestly, you pretty much can't go wrong with just going to the PoE Twitch page and then picking a random person. The landlord and the tenant are both
Pick the one that says Jazzarus. That I hear that guy is really funny.
Wonderful and have Burton Ernie energy. Jazzarus puts out fantastic guides every league start and should be the first stop for any newer player looking to get into Path of Exile. Steel Mage, on the other hand, is great because he details his hardcore character's progression throughout the course of a league and implements interesting builds. Empyrean Gaming is where you should go if you want to see the absolutely insane limits of what Path of Exile gameplay can look like. His group usually finds a way to break the new league in half within the first few days, and it's always entertaining to watch. He also puts out great guides for mid to late game farming that are very worth checking out. And finally,
I like all of these guys and I watch all of their videos, by the way. I have said this before, but I not only for Path of Exile, but in life in general, I like everybody. I like people. You have to try really hard for me to not like you. Right? So I like all of them and I watch all their videos, dude.
Have to shout out my favorite robotic communist, Mage Fist, for indoctrinating me into the church of Flicker Strike and finding a way to make Path of Exile guides visually interesting to look at. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for making it to the end.
You're my real friends, hate-filled strangers.
More videos to come, so I'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions in the comments. I've really enjoyed being bullied into playing RimWorld, so keep those recommendations coming. Until next time, have a great day and stay safe out there.
Hey, brother. Awesome video, dude. Awesome video. Let's subscribe. Hey, awesome video. I like it, dude. I like it. Hey, you guys were right that I had to watch this video because it is an awesome guy video. He says the worst guide to Path of Exile. Nah, brother. This was a good guide to Path of Exile. I like it. He obviously is trying to be funny, but there is also a lot of good information for actually playing the game in here, dude. Of course, if you want an in-depth guide to play the game, this is not it. But there is a lot of accurate, cool information in here. I love the video, guys. You were right. I had to watch it. Awesome video. Thank you very much, Connor, my dude. What do you guys think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I a clown? Am I a genius? Let me know everything in the comments below. I love reading comments even when they don't agree with me. Also, remember to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, all that cool stuff. Guys, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. God bless you. And remember, don't be afraid ever, because this is just a ride.